Shabbat Shalom, everyone. The message today is crossing over. It will be at least two parts. This is the first part today, and this is the ones from beyond. We start in Psalm 97, the salvation of Yah. Sing to Yah a new song, for he has wrought wonderful works. His right hand and his set-apart arm, his sanctified arm, has wrought salvation for him. And his right hand and his set-apart arm, that's the manifestation of the Most High to this world, and that is his Son. And it's a reference also to Psalm 110. For Yah has made known his salvation. He has revealed his righteousness in the sight of all nations. He has remembered his mercy to Yaakov, Jacob, and his truth to the house of Israel, Yasharal. He's remembering his covenants that he's made with the fathers. And all of the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of the Most High. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of Yah. That was his first coming. Shout to Yah, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, glory to the King. Mountains bow down, and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. Sing songs, sing with instruments and the voice, with trumpets of metal, and the sound of a trumpet of horn. Make a joyful noise to Yah before the King. The trumpets of metal you can find in Numbers 10. And the sound of a trumpet of horn, that is the shofar blast. And think of the sound of the trumpet out Mount Sinai that grew louder and louder and didn't stop, didn't taper off. Everyone at the base of the mountain knew that that was no man blowing a trumpet. That was the sound of the Most High coming. And this is the trumpet that we're looking for in the future. It's going to be a joyful noise to his called, his chosen, his remnant, his kingdom of priests. To the rest of the world, it will be a terrible sound. But that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for that joyful noise. Let the sea be moved in the fullness of it, the world and they that dwell in it. The rivers shall clap their hands together, and the mountains shall exalt. For he is come to judge the earth. And we know this is part of his second coming, because he said he did not come the first time to judge the earth. This next time he will be. He shall judge the world in righteousness and the nations in uprightness. Everyone will be held to a standard, his will, his words, and his words were the words of his Father. Isaiah 64. Yah, if you would just open the heavens, just show us a glimpse of your majesty and your power and your glory above. Trembling would take hold upon the mountains from you, and the mountains are the powers of the world, and they shall melt, and fire shall burn up the enemies. That's the coming judgment, and your name shall be manifest among the adversaries, and at your presence the nations shall be troubled. All the world thinks that they can do their own thing in these days. They've forgotten the ancient past. They've forgotten him. He will return, and the whole world will see it, and they'll be troubled, putting it mildly. You shall work these things gloriously. Trembling from you shall take hold upon the mountains. From of old we have not heard, neither have our eyes seen any one beside you, and your works which you will perform to them that wait for mercy. For these blessings shall happen to them that work righteousness. That's Isaiah 64. To them that wait for mercy. When you wait for mercy, when you trust that you're going to be redeemed, going through tribulation, trials, testing, pain, sorrow, but you're waiting because you've had a promise given to you. You're waiting for him. You're waiting for his mercy to manifest itself. You're waiting for salvation to come. That's the definition of faith. We have to have that faith. For these blessings shall happen to them that work righteousness. And righteousness is meeting that mark, meeting his standard, doing his will, hearing his words, Shema, hear and obey, because he is your master, he is your king, and you're supposed to follow him in righteousness. His way, not your way. And in Isaiah 64 right there, that's an end time summary of what he's looking for from us. He's looking for faith. He's looking for obedience. And then Paul summarizes this in 1 Corinthians 2. As it is written in Isaiah 64, Paul says, eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has entered into the heart of men these things that Yah has prepared for them that love him. He summarized them that wait for mercy. These things will happen to them that work righteousness, because when you summarize it all, Yah is love. And when you do all things in love to him and to everyone around you, you have fulfilled his will. You have fulfilled his word. You have fulfilled the law. Because you love him, you're doing it his way. And when you love your neighbors, you're pouring yourselves out for them as he poured himself out for us. In love to him, in love to everyone else. And you fulfill everything, and you have that faith and obedience wrapped up in love. But Yah has revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, yes, the deep things of the Most High. Going back to the Old Testament and Noah in Genesis, we're going to look at Noah's faith and obedience. Yah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, just as it is today. Yah said, I will destroy man whom I have created. But one man, Noah, found grace, favor in the eyes of Yah. And Noah walked with the Most High. When he walks with the Most High, he's walking on his path, listening to him and doing what he says. And he shows examples of this. He comes down to Noah and says, all flesh has corrupted its way upon the earth. Noah, I'm going to destroy them from the earth. I'm going to have a flood. I'm going to wipe them all out. But you, I want you to make an ark, and with you I will establish my covenant. And what did Noah do? He listened. He had faith and obeyed. He had faith that Yah said, even though he's destroying the world, he would make a covenant with him and save him. And then he was obedient and built an ark that was over 500 feet long. Thus Noah did according to everything that Yah commanded him to do, so he did. Faith, knowing what's coming and he's going to be saved, the obedience to carry through, and then Yah brings judgment onto the earth. He says unto Noah, now it's time. Come, you and all your house, into the ark, and get all the animals and bring them in. And Noah did according to everything that Yah commanded him. And Yah closed the door. And then the waters from the heavens were opened, the waters from the deep were released, and the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth. And every living substance, everything that was on the earth was destroyed. Man, cattle, creeping things. They were all destroyed, but only Noah was left alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And we look at the ark as a shadow picture of our Messiah, for he is our salvation. He's the only way to escape the judgment of the world. And then our Heavenly Father remembered Noah and every living thing and all the animals that were with him in the ark. And Yah made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. Now we're going to look at this verse for a second. It says, he remembered Noah and his family and all the animals and every living thing. He already said he remembered Noah and the animals and every living thing. And now let's look at the second part of the verse. When you look at it in the Hebrew, each word, the first word is abar, uya abar, meaning and will pass over, will cross over. Elohim, which is the name of, most people know it as God, the Lord. And then Ruach, which is spirit. And then all ha'aratz, which is over the earth. Uyashaku, which is will calm. And then hamayim, which is the waters. So what the Hebrew is saying underneath is the Spirit of the Most High will cross over all of the earth and will calm the waters. Now, in King James and other translations, it says, a wind will pass over the earth and the water subsided. That's not best translation. Think about a wind in a lake. Is blowing a wind going to subside the waters off of a lake? Especially the waters that are over the earth? No. Are they going to calm the waters on a lake? If you've ever been on one of the Great Lakes in Michigan, looking across to Illinois and feeling that great wind coming across, those waters are not being calmed by that great wind. There's waves coming up, turbulence. A wind that passes over the earth doesn't calm or subside the waters. So we go back to the original Hebrew on this and understand what we're really trying to be told. He came over the entire earth and he crossed over the waters of the earth. He passed over, and his presence, his Spirit, calmed the waters. He started to bring the end of the judgment of the world by his presence coming back and over the world. Amazing. And he said, Noah and all the animals and every living thing, which is a foreshadow of the coming times. It wasn't the time of the ark. It was just Noah and his family and the animals. But he says, and every living thing. And the tense of the Hebrew is all future tense. So Yah will pass over the earth with his Spirit and will calm the water. There's prophecy in Genesis. Now, we're going to look at the word Passover a couple of times here. In Hebrew, H5674 in Strong's, it's abar, which is a primitive root word. It means to pass over, pass through, or cross over. So Yah was passing over the water in this instance. Abraham left his home. Yah told him, you're in a pagan land. Get out of that country. That's your home. Leave your home. Leave your family. Leave your house. Leave your father's house. Go unto a land which I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great. Abram departed as the Most High had spoken to him. He was 75 at the time. He wasn't necessarily a spring chicken, but he still listened to his heavenly Father. They went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and they made it there. And it's reminding me of what our Messiah said in Matthew 19. He took this journey. He heard Yah's voice. He said, I want you to leave your house. I want you to leave your homeland. I want you to leave your family. I want you to leave everything and go where I tell you to go. And our Messiah said, everyone that has forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands, everyone for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life.
Powerful.
Does anybody here know anybody that has left their homes or their family or their previous life and heard his calling and followed into the unknown?
Yeah.
Our Savior just spoke to us through that verse. Everyone that has forsaken houses or family or lands for his name's sake shall receive everlasting life. But, and here's a warning, many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Don't let pride get in the way. Don't fall off the path. And Abraham, known as Abram, passed through the land unto the place, basically, of Shechem, and the Canaanite was then in the land. Morah is teacher in Hebrew, which is the oak tree, close to the mountains between Mount Gerizim and Ebal. Shechem is also between those mountains. And so we see sometimes people think that when Abraham passed through the land, he went straight to Mount Moriah. And it says it's Morah, not Moriah. He went actually into the middle of the country. He traversed the land lengthwise as far as Shechem to the high oak, and he journeyed there and proceeded to Shechem. References also in Jubilees as a second witness. So when you look at the map, just for information's sake, when he came through his path, he came from the north, through Syria, and he stopped about halfway through the current land of Israel. He didn't get all the way to Jerusalem first. So Abram passed through the land, and passing through, going back to that word again, H5674, abar, to cross over. He passed through the land as one that escaped and told Abram the Hebrew in Genesis 14:13. Now, when you look at Hebrew, in the Hebrew language, the word is abari, which takes its root from crossing over. One from beyond is what Hebrew means. A Hebrew is one from beyond that has crossed over. Now, in the Septuagint, when it says Abraham the Hebrew, it's got a different word underneath it in Greek that means wanderer or immigrant, but it's also the same type of thought, that he is from afar and he's come. So you look at Abraham as being the type cast for the first Hebrew, the first one that crossed over. And you see Joseph is also referenced as a Hebrew. The woman spoke unto the master of Joseph and said, "This Hebrew servant which you brought to us tried to mock me." And Joseph's master took him and threw him into the prison. But Yah was with Joseph and showed him mercy. And so again, we see the Hebrew word, which is H5680, is abari, one from beyond. So Joseph is identified as a Hebrew, one that has crossed over. Moses and the judgment upon Egypt. Yah spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land and said, "I need everybody to get a lamb that's unblemished, and take the blood of that lamb and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorpost of the house. This is Yah's Passover." It's not the children of Israel's Passover. He said, this is his Passover. Passover is Pesach in Hebrew, which means to skip over, to hop. So slightly different than abar, which is to cross over. Yah says, "I will pass through the land of Egypt this night and smite all the firstborn in the land, man and beast, and against the gods of Egypt, the pagan gods of the land, I will execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. And blood shall be to you a token of faith upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood that you have put up on your doorpost, I will pass over you. I will pasak, I will skip over you, hop over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you. The judgment will not fall upon you because you had the faith to believe what I was saying and the obedience to actually put the blood on the doorpost when I strike the land of Egypt." Yah both passed through the land, which was abar, and he pasak, he skipped over the people. So you see both being used. And the Exodus continues. Yah brought them through the midst of the sea as if it were dry land, as it says in Jubilees 48. In 1 Corinthians, Paul says, "I don't want you to be ignorant, my brothers and sisters, how that all of our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. And all were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea." They were all immersed, all mikvud in that sea and under the cloud. And Hebrews 11 says, "By faith they passed through the sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians were going to be drowned in." And when you go into the Greek of the New Testament of these verses, passed through means to cross over, to pass through, which is the same word that the Septuagint uses for passing through, crossing over, pass over in Joshua 1:11 and many other instances. It's tying in the Greek to the Hebrew. So you can see this consistent idea of crossing over that's talked about in the Old Testament for the examples that we have, and then Paul connects the dots for us. Deuteronomy 9. "Hear, O Israel, you are to pass over Jordan this day." This is Moses' last days, his final words to his people. "You are to pass over Jordan now to go in and possess the nations greater and mightier than you. You will pass over Jordan to go in to possess the land which Yah has given you, and you shall possess it and dwell within." And then in Joshua 1, Joshua commanded officers of the people, saying, "Within 3 days you shall pass over this Jordan and go possess the land." And then Joshua said, "Sanctify yourselves, people, for tomorrow Yah will do wonders among you." And you can see the words Passover consistently used here. This is being a reiteration. When you see the word being used consistently, repeatedly, it's emphasis. He wants to draw your attention to this word, to this concept. You're going to pass over. Continuing on in Joshua, he said to the children of Israel, "Come here. Hear the words of Yah your Elohim. Behold, the ark of the covenant is passing over, crossing over before you into Jordan. As soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that carry the ark touch the waters of the Jordan, the water shall be cut off from the waters, and they shall stand upon dry land," basically. "And the water shall stand up as a heap." So what you're seeing here at the Jordan is a recreation of the sea where they passed through and the Egyptians drowned. The waters of Jordan stood up, and it said it stood up a long way as to Adam, the town of Adam. And you can see the crossing over point here in a map of Israel. And above it is the town of Adam. That's about 25 to 30 miles north of the crossing over point that was adjacent to Jericho. The waters were gathering up and standing up that far back. So the waters of the Jordan were probably 100 feet high and 25, 30 miles long. Another amazing sight that we sort of don't see sometimes. They saw some amazing things. It's just a warm-up for us. And so we look at also the concept of crossing over. Crossing over from the flesh. Genesis 35, Yah told Jacob, "Your name is Jacob right now, but it shall not be any more Jacob. Israel shall be your name." Jacob means heel holder, supplanter. Israel from H410 meaning all from the Almighty or power. And Shirah is to prevail, to have power. And with the yod in front of it, it's a future tense. So it says, Yah will prevail, Yah prevails. That's the name of Israel. And he's naming Jacob that. Yah will prevail in this fight, in all fights, in all times. Now what does Paul tell us? "Know you therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham." And what was Abraham? He was a Hebrew, the first Hebrew. He was the first one that crossed over, crossing over from the flesh with Yah and the Spirit. The renaming of Jacob to Israel, where Yah will prevail. "For we are the circumcision, which worships Yah in the Spirit, and rejoices with Messiah, and has no confidence in the flesh." So you can see this concept of crossing over from flesh to spirit, which is right in line with the concept of crossing over that we were shown with the Exodus and Joshua crossing over and the children of Israel crossing over the Jordan River. "And now, Israel, what does Yah your Elohim require of you but to fear him, to walk in all of his ways, and to love him, and to serve him with all your heart and all your soul?" That's the Shema, Deuteronomy 6:5. "Circumcise, thus therefore circumcise your heart, and then Yah your Elohim will circumcise your heart." He'll finish the job. "To love him with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live." He's going to help us. He wants us to do our best. We all fall short of the glory. When we have faith and we show that heart of obedience through love, he'll do the rest. He'll get us there. "But this shall be the covenant which I make with the house of Israel. After those days, this is not the covenant that I will make with your forefathers in the land of Egypt, which they forsook, but this is the covenant that I shall make with you." Jeremiah 31, and also in Hebrews 8. "After those days, I will put my law in their inward parts, in their mind, and write it on their hearts, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people." And Ezekiel 36 doubles down on this promise, this prophecy of this new covenant that has now come with the coming of Messiah. "For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all the countries, and will bring you into your own land." So there's a couple promises right there. "I will sprinkle clean water on you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you." And we know that that was performed at the Feast of Weeks at Shavuot at Pentecost, 50 days after his resurrection. "And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them." This is the covenant which we're in right now. This is the one that was prophesied in Jeremiah 31. It's the one that Hebrews doesn't just paraphrase, it basically recites the same prophecy, word for word. He will put his spirit within us. Yes, glory to him. And he will cause us to walk in his statutes and keep his judgments and do them. Why? Because we love him that much. And our Messiah says, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he can't enter into the kingdom of heaven. If you believe in the Most High, believe also in me. John 14. Now, believe is to have faith, commit to, of the trust and conviction to which a man is impelled by a certain inner and higher prerogative and law. Meaning, if you really believe in him, you'll do the things he's telling you to do. You believe him. It's not just hear, it's hear and obey, which is again Shema. Walk in the Spirit, you shall not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. Walk worthy of our Master, being fruitful in all good work and increasing in the knowledge of Elohim. And what does John say about that? He says, the knowledge of Yah, thereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. If you truly know him, you'll follow his word. You'll do what he asks you to do. And here is the patience of the saints identified in Revelation 14. Here are the saints, they that keep the commandments of the Father and the faith of the Son. Just like Noah did. He had faith that he was going to be saved, and he had the obedience. He listened and did what he was told. You see the foreshadows. And it's all the same story. This is Revelation, this is John, this is Paul, the prophets. Beloved, we have confidence in him. Whatever we ask, we will receive him because why? Because we keep his commandments. We're good children unto him. We love him. And won't a good father bless us even more than an earthly father? Do those things that are pleasing in his sight. And this is his commandment, that we should believe on the name of his Son and love one another as Messiah gave us commandment. That's 1 John chapter 3. And he said, this is his commandment, that we should believe on the name of his Son. So whose commandment are we following there? The his commandment is the same as his Son, so it's the Father's commandment. Straight from 1 John. Why is that? We go back to Deuteronomy 18. This is one of the laws in the Torah. This is the one that every follower of Judaism misses and fails to obey the Torah. Why? He says, Deuteronomy 18, I will raise up to the world a prophet of their brethren, like unto you, Moses, and I will put my words, the Father's words, in his mouth, that prophet's mouth, and that prophet shall speak those words, only those words that I shall command him. And whatever man shall not hearken to whatever words that prophet says, I, the Father, will take vengeance on him. A law that we're supposed to hear the words of that prophet and obey him. The words that prophet are speaking are the words of the Father that the Father puts in his mouth. Do we need proof of this? Let's go to John 14. This is Messiah's words right here. He that loves me not keeps not my sayings. That's easy to understand. And the word which you hear is not mine. The Messiah said, these aren't my words that I'm speaking to you. These aren't my commands, but the Father's that sent me. As the Father gave me commandment, even so I do. Why did he say the Father gave him commandment? Because it says right there in Deuteronomy 18, he shall speak to them only what I tell him to speak. So the words you see in the New Testament, the Gospels, don't come or originate from Messiah. They come from the Father through Messiah, who are all ahad, who are all united, who are all one. But understand what he's saying. It's the same story. A new covenant didn't chop things away except for those prescribed, the sacrifices, as a great example, as Hebrews specifically says. And he that keeps his commandments dwells in him, and he in him. And hereby we know that he abides in us by the Spirit he has given us.
And that's a continuation of 1 John 3, where he was saying that the he and the him and the his is the Father. He that keeps the Father's commandments dwells in the Father, and Father in him, and the Son dwells in all. And we know that he abides in us by the Spirit that he has given us. And Messiah said, and I will pray to the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. He's the Spirit. Messiah is the arm, the right hand, the strong arm. They're all together. But understand the commandments that Messiah gave us, the attitudes, all of his prophecies, all of his parables. He came to fulfill the law and the prophets, meaning he came to fulfill some prophecies. He was born of a virgin. Prophecy checked off. He was raised in Nazareth. Prophecy checked off. Crucified. Despised of men. Check. He didn't finish all the prophecies because he's coming as the righteous judge and the King of Kings. But he also came to fulfill the law because he had to be perfect. He had to be a perfect sacrifice. So he had to fulfill everything in the Torah perfectly, or he wasn't who he said he was. And one of those things was Deuteronomy 18. I have to listen to my Father, and I'm going to speak only his words. And if I don't do it, I didn't follow Torah. I'm a sinner, and I can't be your Savior. See how hard that is. But he did it all perfectly. He is perfect. Glory to him. Amen. Teacher, master, what good things that I can do to enter into eternal life? And Messiah says, if you want to enter into eternal life, keep the commandments. Whose commandments? He's the prophet. He's speaking the commandments of his Father. You shall not murder. That's an easy one. If you want to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. There's two different levels there, if you can see it. You want to enter into eternal life, you keep the commandments. If you really want to get the amazing rewards that he has for us that no eye has seen, no one has even imagined, if you really want to get there, if you want to be perfect, sell, give to the poor, love each other unconditionally as he loved us, because he said, this is the additional commandment that I'm giving you. Love your neighbors as I have loved you, which is a bigger love than we could ever imagine. Do not think that I've come to destroy the law of the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. What does fulfill also mean? It means to fill up, explain. He came as the prophet. What do prophets do? They explain things. You've heard it said that you shall not murder. But I say to you, in addition to that, if you have hated someone in your heart, you've murdered them in the spirit. You've broken the spiritual truth of that law. He raised the bar on us. He put the litmus test not on the flesh, but in the spirit. That's what he wants us to raise ourselves to. How do we do that? By loving unconditionally. If I could sum up everything, that's it, love. A man is justified by faith. Do we then make void the law, the Torah, and the prophets through faith, as most modern people sort of seem to think? Yah forbid. Heavens no. As a matter of fact, we establish the law. What does that mean? That means that we know the law so much. It has been our schoolmaster. We know it all, but we do it in love. We do it in love. And so everything we do is unto each other and unto him in such a perfect manner that it establishes that law. It meets the Torah, but it does it in love, which is the overriding law. It's the law of joy, law of liberty. Just like Sabbath is. We keep Sabbath. We rest on the Sabbath. We don't work. We don't spend. But what if we see somebody homeless or we're going to assembly? Starving, it looks like, and you don't have anything. Do you just pass them by? I'll come back tomorrow when I can spend some money. No. That's what the apostles say, and Messiah says, don't do that. Be lawful in love. Is it okay to heal? Is it okay to give? Is it okay to love on Sabbath? Yes. That's how we establish the law.
Even if it costs money.
Yeah, of course. Go straight to Arby's and get him a double beef, whatever, and help him.
Not the pork one.
No.
That's why you said double beef. Right?
Double beef. So we establish the law. We understand the law, but we use it in love. Just as Messiah showed us, he fulfilled the law. He showed us how to live the law in love. We're supposed to follow him. He says, if you want to be perfect, do those good things and follow me. Follow my example. The doers of the law shall be justified. And here you go. Some people say it's just the people that have faith are justified. They are saved. And that's definitely true. That's the entry door. But it also says, this is Paul speaking, the doers of the law shall be justified when you have faith. Love is the fulfilling of the law. For alms deliver from death and shall purge away sin. Those that execute alms, that give to the poor, and righteousness shall be filled with life. And again, that's what Messiah said. If you want to be perfect, go give to the poor. It covers a multitude of sins. And as Joshua said, sanctify yourselves, people, for tomorrow Yah will do wonders among you. This is our time of trial and testing right now. He's telling us, are you going to have faith in me? Are you going to listen to my words? I'm telling you to sanctify yourselves. Get yourselves cleaned up. Wash your clothes before I come down to Sinai on the third day, people. Get yourselves ready for me. I'm coming for a bride. I want a righteous, virtuous bride when I show up. Sanctify yourselves. Do the best you can, because I'm coming soon. And this is still about crossing over from the flesh to the spirit. Spiritual Hebrews. Ones from beyond. I have given them your word, Yah, and the world has hated them because they, the disciples, the apostles, they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. We're being told we're not supposed to be living in the flesh. We're not supposed to be of the flesh. We're supposed to be of the Spirit, not of this world, but of the kingdom of the Most High. That means we have crossed over from the flesh to the Spirit. We are spiritual Hebrews, Abari, crossing over. Let no one tell you that it's the Gentiles and Israel. It's all about crossing over to be spiritual Hebrews, spiritual Israelites. If you were of the world would love his own, but because you are not of the world, I have chosen you out of this world. Therefore the world hates you. We expect these things these days. I beseech you, and this is Peter, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust, which war against the soul. Strangers and pilgrims, because we're spiritual. We're not of this world. For our citizenship is in heaven, which we eagerly await in these coming days. Our Messiah, who will transform our lowly body, that it may be conformed to his gloriousness. But he is a Jew, Paul says. And again, a Jew is looked at as Israel, Hebrew, just a different word from a different translator. He is a spiritual Hebrew, a spiritual son or daughter of Israel, which is one inwardly, not outwardly. Doesn't matter about the DNA from Abraham being in you or not. It's inwardly, and circumcision is not that which was known before, but it is that of the heart in the spirit, and not of the letter of the law, as we talked about, whose praise is not of men. We don't look from praise from man. We look for praise from the Most High. Understand where the circumcision comes from. It's the circumcision without hands. The circumcision without hands is a spiritual circumcision with the Spirit indwelling in us and being called to be a part of spiritual Israel. Romans 11, the olive tree. He's broken off the natural branches of the Jews that don't believe. He's grafted in those that were Gentiles, others. Whose olive tree is it? It's his olive tree. It's the olive tree of Israel, with Messiah as the root. For there is no partiality with the Most High. There is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For whoever shall call upon the name of the Most High shall be saved. That's Paul again. No difference. No partiality. He is no respecter of persons, meaning he cannot have a different salvation plan for Jew and Gentile, as many dispensationalists are teaching today. It has to be one plan for all, or he is breaking his own Torah. You have to love your neighbor as yourself and do it equally. No respecter of persons, no partiality, one salvation plan. For grace, favor, you are saved through faith. Not of yourselves, not of your works. It is a gift. It's a free gift. You just have to take that step forward on this walk to cross over. We are his workmanship, created in Messiah unto good works. Created in Messiah to do good works. That's what our job is. That's what our role is. When we accept him, we're saying, I'm yours. I want to do your good works. Show me what you want me to do. Teach me. Remember, in the time past, many of you were Gentiles in the flesh. At that time, you were without Messiah. You were lost. You were aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. You weren't part of Israel at the time. You were Gentiles. You were lost. You did not have Messiah. And strangers from the covenants of promise. The covenants of promise was Jeremiah 31. I will give you a covenant in the latter days that I will put my law on your hearts. The Spirit I will put in you. At the time, you had no hope. But now in Messiah, all of you that were sometimes far off are made close to the Most High by his blood. Now therefore you are no more strangers and foreigners. You are not Gentiles anymore. You are fellow citizens with the saints and the household of the Most High. Fellow citizens, part of the nation of spiritual Israel, the house of Israel. The household of Yah. It's his house. It's his chosen people. It's his house. And built upon the apostles and the prophets. So it's not two different houses for Gentiles and Israel. It's one house built by both the prophets from the Old Testament and the prophets and the apostles of the New Testament all together. And who has the 12 foundations of the New Jerusalem? It's the apostles. But who has the 12 doors that go in and out of the city? The 12 tribes. It's all the same. It's all one house. Messiah himself being the chief cornerstone of this house, in whom you also are all builded together with him for a habitation of the Most High through the Spirit, because you've crossed over from your flesh, from strangers, from aliens, from Gentiles, from people of the world, from heathens, unto spiritual Israel, unto spiritual Hebrews. Abari, we are. And this is the summary of these things. We have a path to take. We have a door to go through. He says, I am the door. I'm the only door. The only door that the ark had is a shadow of him being the only door that we can get through to get to salvation. That's the door with the blood on the sides and on the top. His atonement for our iniquities, our shortcomings, our failings. And then he said, once you get through that door and you've made that decision, take up your cross and follow me. This is not going to be easy. This world hates us. It's not going to make it easy on you. As he took his cross up, you do the same. Whatever it is, and start walking. And how do you make that journey? You make it in faith, because you know if you do what he tells you to do, his promises are sure. It's not just a promise, it's fact. It's just in the future. It's up to us to get to that future. And so we have faith to do that. But faith isn't all we saw. Paul said you're justified both by faith and by works. You have to have faith. All under love. But you have to have both. So what happens when you're walking? You're obedient to him, just as Noah said, yes, I hear you. The world's going to be destroyed. Judgment is coming. I believe you. And I will be obedient for these years, and I will build that ark. If he just had the faith and said, I believe you, and wasn't obedient, how would he have done? Probably not too good. And you make that walk and know that he is love. And everything is done unto love, and we're reaching and striving every step we take with the faith and obedience to get closer to his image, to as he is, to being a more perfect love as he was perfect and loving unto us. And that's that walk we make as we cross over from where we are right now to get to the salvation and eternal glory and life with him that we strive for. I can't wait for that. Some days it's hard to wait, isn't it? It's going to get harder. But he says, those that endure to the end shall be saved. Take up your cross and follow me. And if you endure the tribulations, you endure everything that they're going to bring upon you because they hate you and the beast and the mark, etc., you shall be saved. Those words from Messiah aren't telling anybody that we get out of here before the really bad stuff hits the fan. He says, endure. Believe in me. Believe in the promise I have set out before you, and take those steps. Finish this path. The straight and narrow path that I have set before you that few find. And he's calling us now. Keep walking. Follow me. I'm the way. I'm lighting the path of my way with my word. Just keep walking towards the light. Walk towards love. walk towards him. And he promises you'll get there. Endure, be faithful, love. That's our message for today.